court in Port Harcourt sentences 5 people to death by hanging or lethal injection for murder. Police arrest fleeing schoolboy for defiling 11-year-old female schoolmate in Port Harcourt. River State government reacts to newly amended local government law. Reactions as Army refused journalists access to troubled Okwama community in Delta State. And on the foreign scene, Uganda on alert as IS-linked militants enter country. I am Ifichuku Moyale with the news. The 5 people who murdered the late OSPA commander of Umudioga community, Alex Umezurike, in Emoha local government area are to be hanged or administered with lethal injection till they die. A state high court in Port Harcourt found the 5 accused, Okechukwu Oje, Promise Igwe, Morrison Igwe, Goodness Monday, Ifeanyi Igwe, guilty of 10 counts bordering on armed robbery, illegal possession of firearms, murder, cultism, and conspiracy, among others. The trial judge, Justice S.H. Aprioku, also discharged and acquitted the 6th defendant in the matter, Alex Diwe. Recall that the gang killed the late OSPA commander Alex Umezurike in 2021 for fighting criminality in the Umudioga community. The prosecution counsel, SP Essien Edet, spoke to our correspondent, Emekotoka, after the judgment.
It was a case for which the late OSPA commander was gruesomely murdered and dismembered by this gang of criminals. And we have been on trial until today. The court has finally given its judgment on the matter, and justice, I believe, has now been served in the case. First to 5 defendants in the matter have been convicted and sentenced to death by hanging or through a lethal injection until they die. And I believe that justice has finally been served. And it is a lesson to all those committing heinous crime, killing people as if such are not variables.
The counsel to the defendants declined to speak. Moving on, the police say they have arrested a fleeing schoolboy who defiled his 11-year-old female schoolmate at the state secondary school in Rumokurusi, Port Harcourt. The incident happened last Friday, with online photos showing the moment the bleeding girl was taken to a hospital for treatment. A devastated mother had spoken to our correspondent from the hospital, calling for justice. The public relations officer of the River State Police Command, Grace Iringekoko, tells correspondent Emekotoka that the matter has been transferred to the State Criminal and Investigation Department, and the outcome of the investigation will be made known.
A child 11 years old, while he is 16 years old. Both of them are in same school. He has been arrested. Investigation is ongoing to that effect.
A lawyer, Deborah Efyong, also spoke to gender correspondent Constance Mega on this.
Anything that has to do with defilement, rape, sexual harassment of any form, there are laws that are clearly provided. And there are also provisions and sections of the law that has to do with cases between minors. The 2 of them are minors, and then all the onlookers and the watchers have all become complices in the crime. They would all have to face the law in one way or the other. But if the punishment for defilement is 15 years imprisonment, for a delinquent, the law would have to scale it down. And of course, they would have to also serve their term in a place we call the remand home.
Mrs. Efyong, who leads the Arise for Gender and Livelihood initiative, however, called for increased sensitization to educate children and adolescents about the consequences of engaging in criminal activities.
Enlightenment, much more enlightenment. We just have to continue that advocacy. We start teaching about body parts from infancy. You can't expect a child who has been taught about body parts regularly. The child grows up with that mindset. You see that the child protects herself against that. The more this is talked about, the more advocacy around these issues, the better for society and better for everyone.
Recall that the incident happened during school hours. Online reports say his friend watched and laughed as he pushed her down from behind to carry out the act. Now, the SUG president of the University of Port Harcourt, Azirindo Okpara, says the 300-level accounting student Onisoworo Oduoma Eba, who was found dead on campus, is suspected to have been electrocuted. Mr. Okpara tells our correspondent that an investigation has been launched into the incident. He also said the school management plans to carry out an autopsy, But the victim's father, Udoma Ewa, spoke to our correspondent, calling for a joint autopsy to determine the actual cause of his son's death. He also refused claims that his son died from electrocution.
I like that we have electrocution. So for us, we are still believing that it's not electrocution. But go to the true matter what actually happened because how did it happen? The industry has not even called me immediately as a parent. That we do all this on their side and on my side. That is the situation I'm finding myself. I will not mind. All I want is not take the job. If you want to carry out the office, let it not be on one side of the office. Let all of us have their representation.
In another development, the Nigerian Medical Association NMA in Rivers State says an investigation has been launched into the death of Rebecca Sekidika, the patient who died at a private hospital in Port Harcourt after missing her period. The 24-year-old was said to have been a first-class graduate of microbiology from Benson Idahosa University who went for medical checks for not seeing her menstruation for months but lost her life during medical procedures. The state NMA chairman, A.B. Robinson, spoke to our correspondent.
The matter is under police investigation where a coroner inquest is already ongoing and is in progress. So we are waiting the conclusion of the coroner's inquest and then we will take it off from there. The death of that young lady is quite regrettable. Our sincere condolences to the family. The enemy position is to make sure that the matter comes to a closure conclusively in a matter that is acceptable to all involved and all concerned.
Her father, Samson Sekidika, had earlier spoken to newsmen accusing the private hospital of medical negligence, urging the Rivers State government, human rights organizations and civil society groups to weigh in on the matter. Now, the police have not spoken on this. When our correspondent visited the hospital for comment, they declined to speak on the matter. In other news, the Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Joe Johnson, says the amended local government law by the Martin Amihule-led lawmakers cannot take effect during the tenure of the current local government chairman. Recall that the state lawmakers for the second time in less than 5 months amended the local government law number 5 of 2018 to empower the House of Assembly via resolution to extend the tenure of elected chairmen and councillors where it is considered impracticable to hold local government elections before the expiration of their 3 years in office. Speaking to correspondent Onyekachi on this, Mr. Johnson said laws are not made in retrospect.
The 1999 constitutional prohibition of retrospective application of legislation says that no law is made in retrospect. Section 4 of our Constitution, 9 in particular, even though it talked about criminal matters, it can be extrapolated. You don't make laws in retrospect. Even if the governor gives assent to whatever the assembly had done, it is not the present occupants of the position that will benefit from it. A law that was already existing, what they are doing is trying to repeal a law that was made in 2018.
The Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communications also questioned the motive and the process of amending the local government law.
In 2018, this assembly in particular said that on expiration of the tenure of a council chairman, the governor will be at liberty within 90 days to conduct an election. It means that within that period, you can appoint a caretaker. This is their own law. How come the law has changed between 2018 and now? And when you want to make any law of public interest, there must be public hearing. So whatever they have done is in conflict with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they know the consequence of it.
In the meantime, the acting chairman of the Rivers State Local Government Service Commission, Good Life Ben, says the commission is not aware that any local government is conducting exercises aimed at identifying ghost workers. This comes after Emoha and Ahoda West Local Government chairman said they stopped the salaries of some ghost workers in their council areas. Speaking to correspondent Onyekachi Nwosu, Mr. Goodlife said only the Local Government Service Commission is statutorily empowered to discipline or sack any council worker for unprofessional conduct.
We are not aware of any exercise done by any local government outside the commission. Whatever is to be done, commission will know. Because we have a direction in the local government law to recruit, to discipline, to train. That is our function as a commission. So anything done outside this country, we are not aware. I don't think they can do that. Because if they do that, they've acted outside the law. We as a commission, we're following the law. Anything done by any person outside the commission is null and void.
The acting chairman of the Rivers State Local Government Service Commission also confirmed the payment of the 30,000 naira minimum wage for February and the start of a promotion exercise for local government workers as directed by the governor.
The government that is being implemented. As at now, no local government has reported that it has not been implemented. All local governments have affected the payment of the 30,000 naira minimum wage, and the promotion exercise is in force. The junior staff from 1 to 6 promoted have been passed to the commission, and the commission has also accepted it and run the senior category now. Status of the government is being implemented on course, has gone well, and the staff are happy with its excellency.
Still to come, reactions as Army refused journalists access to troubled Okwama community in Delta State. Stay with us. Military Joint Task Force yesterday barred journalists from covering the governor's assessment tour of the Okwama community in Ughelli South local government area of Delta State. Reports say the JTF operatives barricaded the major entries to Okwama, preventing vehicular and human traffic, including media men, from gaining access to the community. A journalist from Delta State spoke to our correspondent on this.
He got there, he said they kept on pointing him into their base till he met the supposed Oga, who now inquired what he was there for, and he identified himself as a journalist and told them, oh, this was what I'm here to do. The next thing, the man asked him to get out. He made to leave. Then the man called and then started asking him all over to explain himself again. Who are you? What? And then the next thing he heard, he said some of the officers from somewhere just came and bundled him up, started hitting him. He said they even threatened to throw him into the river. And then they even made a video while they were assaulting him, and then they were asking him things like, where's the gun? Look at one of them here, beating him, splashed water on him.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian army is accusing the Okwama community of resorting to propaganda. The army also denied any form of reprisal of the community. This comes after the community leader accused the army of carrying out mass arrests and killings. In the meantime, a conflict expert, Tamiso Etiosa, spoke on ways to de-escalate the crisis.
He got there, he said,
moving on, the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC has expressed support for the ongoing strike by the non-academic staff union of Education, NASU, and associated institutions of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU. A statement, the NLC president Joe Ajero said in a statement, the NLC president Joe Ajero said there is no credible reason or explanation for withholding the salaries of the workers. The university workers yesterday began a 7-day warning strike to demand the payment of their 4-month salaries. Our correspondent who visited the University of Port Harcourt reports that the sit-at-home by the non-teaching staff is affecting several services in the university. And now in business, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, and the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, MEMAN, are asking the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to fulfill its promise of pumping refined products when the Port Harcourt refinery begins operation in 2 weeks. In entertainment, veteran Nollywood actor Amici Monago has called on Nigerians for financial aid for a kidney transplant in India. And now to sports, Lionel Messi's Hong Kong fans who bought tickets to a friendly that he skipped at the last minute will get a 50% refund. The match organizer said ticket holders applying for refund must agree not to pursue legal actions.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
Ugandan security forces are on high alert after they said fighters from an Islamic State news this afternoon. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. A court in Port Harcourt has sentenced 5 people to death by hanging or lethal injection for murder. The police have arrested the fleeing schoolboy who defiled an 11-year-old female schoolmate in Port Harcourt. Another foreign scene, Uganda is on alert as IS-linked militants enter country. The news was edited by Onyekachi Nwosu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Moyeli. Many thanks for listening.